Alrighty, what is up everyone? Hello! Welcome back to Adobe Live. My name is VooDoo Val and I'm going to be your host today for another episode of Graphic Glow Up! I'm super excited to be able to come back and do another one of these episodes. I've been loving doing this show. It's been super fun. Hello to those of you who are in the chat. Kiss My Creative. What's up, my friend? Bliss, it's good to see you. Sam Peterson, the one and only. Who else we got in here? I saw some other folks. Let's see. It is so good to see you. Becca, hello. What's up, Bex? It's good to see all you folks. Welcome in. If you are over on the YouTube channel, please come over to behance.net/live because that is where I'm going to be reading the chat. That is where all of these lovely people are who I am greeting. Phil, what's going on, man? It's good to see you. Thanks for sticking around. So what is Graphic Glow Up? Graphic Glow Up is a cool show that I get to do that is kind of an ode or a tribute to all of the wonderful free resources that Adobe has, like Adobe Stock, Adobe Color, Adobe Capture, all of these things. And it is also kind of a deep dive into our own personal art journeys, right? For those of you who've been here for one of these episodes, you kind of know what I mean. It is a way for us to use these resources and create some projects together, but also remember that we are creating good work, you know, kind of give ourselves a pat on the back, kind of a cool, free, safe, awesome space to create, free of judgment, full of positivity, and we like to do award ceremonies here as well. So towards the end of the episode, after I have created my project that we're going to be working on today, I'm going to go through and award myself some points for what I have created today based on a number of different things, which I will show you right now. So I'm going to pop over here. Let me make sure I have my awards, my achievements and goals pulled up. So this is our goals page. So before we get started today, I'm going to set some goals for myself, and you folks can download this file, actually, if you would like to use this for yourselves, if you'd like to use this while you participate with me here in Graphic Glow Up, or if you would like to just use it for your own personal projects or your own client work. I'm going to set some goals for myself so that I can sort of keep my eye on the ball as I'm working through my project, something to give me a little checklist as I work through my project to make sure I stay on track. And then at the end of our episode, as I said, we're going to award some achievements. So I've got this achievements page that I've created, which you can also download. And over time, over the course of our episodes and things, I have been awarding myself points based on illustration, graphic design, animation, video editing, and presentation. These are a lot of the different things, different elements that kind of come into play when I work on projects for this show. And there's a tip here at the bottom of the page if you choose to download this and use this for yourself that says you deserve to earn points whenever you try things for the first time and or when you create something you are proud of. Get into the habit of appreciating the little things, moments in which you grow, not just complete, which is very important because I think so many of us, while we are kind of trucking through our creative journey, we forget that any bit of work we do is progress. Even if you make a mistake, even if you are not successful in what you intended to do, even things that are not what you wanted are still, those are still moments of progress. I think that, you know, solving a creative problem and coming up with the wrong answer is still valuable because then even you still know what not to do and you know the new direction that you can go in. Okay, so patting yourself on the back, also when you are not finishing a project but you're still sitting down to do some work, you know, all of those moments are important. So we will be doing some graphic design today. We're going to be doing graphic design, some playing with color and things like that. So we're probably going to be getting into some of the graphic design and presentation badges for today. But first, let's go over our project and let's set up some goals, shall we? Mwenda, it's good to see you. Welcome in. I love to see you in the chat, my friend. Okay, so let me grab my handy dandy text tool real quick. I'm going to put some personal goals here for myself. And my personal goal for today is I actually, through my modding the last couple of weeks, I caught some really, really excellent streams, some really great live streams, which you folks can scroll down below the video player today to see all of our archived videos categorized, which is very helpful. So you folks can find some of the UI UX design streams recently, some of the branding identity streams recently. Now you folks know that when I moderate usually from the noon to 2 p.m. Pacific time segment, and those are a lot of UI UX streams and graphic design stuff. And I saw some recently that had these incredible mood boards that I thought were so beautiful it almost looked like a finished product. And I'd never tried making mood boards the way these particular designers did. So my personal goal for this is to create mood boards. Let me go ahead and write this down. To create mood boards that look like a finished product, because a lot of the mood boards that were shown in some of our past week streams were things that would probably go into like a client style guide or something like that. For those of you who are maybe unfamiliar with the style guide, this is something that if you do like a branding identity package for a client, so you design their website or you brand their business or something, a lot of designers will send that client a style guide to show them the colors that are being used, how to post and use the assets that the designer sends them, rather it be, templates that they're using to create Instagram posts or Twitter posts or, Facebook assets and all of this stuff. Just kind of a how-to, like how this branding is intended to be used, and what the final product will look like if you go along with that style guide. And it was great. It was like very, very impressive, and I'd never done that. So we're going to do that. My professional goal, I think, for today is to become more comfortable creating stuff that is like style guide oriented, because I've done it before, but it's not a typical thing for me because I'm predominantly a painter and an illustrator. But I'd like to become more comfortable with style guide type work. So that is my professional goal there. Because if I become more comfortable with it, then it's something that I can offer to future clients or let people know I'm capable of creating branding identity and coming up with style guide type stuff. And then I would say the professional and future goal here are kind of the same thing. So I'm going to just leave it at that. If you decide to download this goals page, you don't have to fill out everything on this. This is just, a template of sorts to kind of help you get that professional groove going and keep your eye on the ball. This works for me for today. So I'm going to go ahead and leave my goals there. That's good enough for me. Now, we are going to dive into some of our Adobe resources because what I'd like to do, I have a project created here, which is actually an Artboards project. So if you have never used Artboards in Photoshop, this is how you would do that. If I come up here to File, New, I've selected a canvas size of 3840 by 2160, which is just 2 times the size of like a standard 1920 by 1080. And I have oriented it to be like kind of widescreen, and I've clicked Artboards. I've checked that Artboards button and made sure my resolution is at 300. This is something that can be unique to you. It kind of depends on what you want. As a painter and illustrator, I always keep my DPI at 300, even when I'm not doing illustration or painting type projects. 300 DPI is your standard for print. If you're going to print something, you want to make sure it's at least 300 DPI, and I just keep that as my standard default. Some people do work at like 72 and all things in between, but that's why that is set that way, because that's what I'm comfortable with. And I hit create, which I'm just going to hit close right now because I've got that down. And what I'd like to do is on this widescreen page, I'd like to make sort of an artboard, mood board type design, but we can also create other artboards within this space, if we come over to our move tool, you can right click this and it will open the artboard tool. And the artboard tool, if I select my artboard over here, you can see I've got plus buttons on each of the sides and faces of my artboard here. And if I click, I can actually just create a new one. I can snag this title here and I can drag this all over the place, which is really, really fun and easy. I can also come up here and I can change the size of this. So if I wanted to, I could come up here and say, maybe I want to make the width of this 5 inches. And it'll give me a smaller artboard, so I could kind of change that to pixels, to inches, to millimeters, whatever I want, and start creating the different kinds of sizes that I want. So if I want to do like a standard 1920 by 1080, I could do a square shape for Instagram, whatever it is that I want. So just wanted to go over that real quick. And then I have chosen some colors, but I want to dive into Adobe Color and show you sort of how to navigate around there with some of the accessibility tools, some of the color picking tools, because today is, while it is also, you know, your standard episode of Graphic Glow Up, it is also kind of dedicated to keeping accessibility in mind. So I have all of these interesting color palettes that I was playing around with recently, and I really love this color palette here with these greens and oranges and browns, kind of earth tones and things. But if I pull up my Adobe Color, I have extracted a theme from this. I've just uploaded this color palette in here so that I can see all my color codes and things, and accessibility tools is up here on this second nav bar for you if you go to color.adobe.com. And so I want to kind of jump in here and take a peek. So if you look through here, you can see that I've got some colors that are sampled here, and it kind of tells me if I'm a pass on certain accessibility, what's the word I'm looking for? Accessibility points, accessibility requirements. If I'm going to use this for design. So it judges me on regular text, on large text, graphic components, and it lets me know if these are colors that work well together in different ways for design. You can also check to see, like this is a contrast checker, but you can also check to see if certain colors are colorblind safe, and it'll let you know where you're having some issues. Like I've got some colorblind issues here with my C and D, things like that. So it depends on how you're designing. If you want to use a color palette, but you want to make sure that it's accessible for people who view the world differently, this is a great way to come in and kind of look at your colors, see, maybe not exactly like seeing what other people will see, but you do have some colorblind simulators here if you want to see like the Tritanopia, Protanopia, and Deuteranopia. Forgive me if I'm butchering these titles, but you can kind of like get a simulation of what other people would see who have different kinds of color blindness. You can alter your colors if you're like, you know, I really do like these colors, but apparently there's some issues here, so maybe I can come through and change them a little bit. You can do that. For example, I could bring this down a little bit and see if we can alter some things. Like if I pull that down, that still looks like a really nice color palette, I think, but as you can see, it's kind of checked this and said there's no conflicts found here, and of course there's, you know, a huge array of ways that people view the world. There's a huge array of different conditions and things that people can have, but it's always great to check just to see if this will tell you if you're using colors more people can see when you're designing. So I'm going to actually go ahead and save this because maybe we can work with this as well. And it saved it into GGU color, which is perfect. You can also come in and extract gradients. I've made myself a couple of gradients, but if you upload a color palette, you can come in and start creating your own here, which we are going to use. This is a new thing that I was not always part of my, excuse me, was not always part of my personal workflow, but is now. So I'm going to show you folks how to go through and do this, but I'm just going to create some, that actually looks really good. That actually looks cool. And I suppose we could kind of switch this so this lighter green and this darker green are swapped just so it goes from light to dark. But I also kind of like that there's um, like dark, light, dark, which looks really good actually. So I might go ahead and say save that. I think it would be cool to do one that's like that orange to, you know, to that light and then maybe to the brown or maybe to the, oh, to the green looks good. That looks nice. So you can create some gradients. You could also upload a photo. Like I uploaded a photo that just had all of these color bars from the theme that I liked, but you could upload an actual image and you could move these around and find the colors that you wanted within an image if you wanted. And you can also come over here to the color wheel and you can just start sampling your own colors if you want. You can go through all of these different settings here, like complementary colors. You could find some complementary colors if you want, and start kind of rearranging these to find some great colors to use. It's really up to you, but these are just some really great color tools you can find at color.adobe.com, and I encourage you all to explore them. Ruben is here. Hello, Ruben. It's good to see you, man. Hey, excellent stream today. Really excellent show. You are a fabulous host and designer, and it is always a pleasure to watch you work and watch you host, my friend. Odari, it's good to see you. Alessandra, hello and welcome. Afroja, it's good to see you in the chat. Thank you all for joining. Always good to see you. Okay, so now let's take our colors that we've created and let's make some magic, shall we? Shall we do that? Are you ready? So what I'd like to do, as I said, is, and you can see that we just added some more gradients and things in here. I've got some interesting colors that are photographs that I found on Adobe Stock that I picked out ahead of time so we don't have to wait for things to load into my library. But what I'd like to do is create a mood board, as I said, and possibly a social media post derived from elements in that mood board. And one of the things I saw, as I told you before, is like mood boards that look like a finished product you could send to a client. So what I want to do is create myself a background and a place for informative text for a client. You know, maybe this would be in a style guide, or maybe this would be something that I posted to a Behance case study. So what I'd like to do first is grab, I've got a recycled paper texture, which is from Adobe Stock. So if you type in recycled paper in the free section of Adobe Stock, you will be able to use this exact same image if you would like. Normally I would not stretch and, you know, and contort images like this. But I think that since this is a texture, it doesn't really bother me to do that much. And I'd like to use one of our colors, which I may choose this color. And I'd like to kind of put a color bucket, like a color underneath there, and then use some blending modes to create a nice like background texture. I'd like to just give it a warmth. So I'm kind of flipping through my blending modes here. I'd like to make this warm. That actually might do. Honestly, that's not a huge change at all. All it did was make my texture just slightly warmer, and it kind of changed these flecks in the paper. If I zoom in here, you can see these nice little natural pieces of, I guess, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, natural debris. I don't know if that's the proper terminology, but it's kind of made it warmer, just kind of interesting, but also subtle. So I think if we put stuff over the top of this, it's not going to be super distracting. And I'm going to group these things together, and I'm just selecting both of my layers here within my artboard by holding Shift and selecting them. And I'm going to say Control G or Command G if you're working on a Mac. And I'll double click this, and I'm just going to call this BG for background. So I have my little background. And then I'm going to grab my shape tool, which you can also find, instead of clicking it in your toolbar, you can click U on your keyboard to access your shape tool. And I'm going to drag out a rectangle here, like so. And I'm going to make this our dark green. And I'm going to do this because I'm going to go ahead and shrink this down. what I'd like to do, as I said, is create a space where my artboard will go over here. And then I also want an area where I'm gonna, this little nib that I'm kind of dragging in the corner here is rounding or pointing my corners. I'm just gonna point the corners there. But this is gonna be where I can put some text, some informative information that my client or whoever's looking at this post, if it ends up being a post, can see kind of my thought process and stuff like that. So this, I think this in a way could also be like kind of just a process of creating and presenting ideas that you could use for clients, for a social media post, for a Behance case study, anything like that. So what I'd like to do is, there's going to be text here. Now I want to start arranging some images based on our colors and things in a cool way. So we need our information, we need our photos, but we also kind of need our base color palette. And there's a couple ways to do this. Can we get a little more volume? Exactly. Exactly, of course. Let me see if I can turn, it's just my mic. If I can crank my mic up. Is that a little bit better? Is that better for everybody? Let me know. So we need to place the info, place the images, but we also need to place our color palette. And I kind of want to do the color palette the way I've seen, kind of referencing and shouting out to some of our cool streams that have been on recently, where I saw, just as an example here, I'll grab my rectangle tool. I'm gonna snag this brown color just to make an example. I'm also going to on a new layer of this. Okay, so what I saw was like these shapes. Let me make sure this is this color. Shapes that were like, if I'm just gonna hit Control or Command J to duplicate. Shapes that were, let me log out of my Steam real quick so that I don't have my Steam stuff coming up, so you guys don't see how many video games I play when I'm supposed to be working. 1 second, because I can see my notifications coming up. Hold on, exit Steam. I'm sure no one is surprised though, let's be honest. So what I saw was like these really nice looking shapes that were just like these overlapped images, you know, kind of showing off what the designer wanted the client to see, product images and things like that, just kind of overlapped in an area. And then if I can pull up this, I'm gonna do like a stroke. I'm just gonna do like a tan stroke. This is not the color that I'm going to use, but I just want to show kind of the idea here, what I'm going for. Let's go ahead and yeah, make sure all these are outlined. So they were like, you know, outlined images in this really nice grid. And then the colors, the color palette was like sampled from the images and placed in a circle like so. I'll show you. Like a little circle. I'm gonna hold shift just to constrain the width and height of that to make it a perfect circle. And let's also, let's make this like the green color and then also put a stroke on that. And we'll make sure that stroke is also like at a 20. So then the colors were like shown on the picture that contained that color. So there was like, you know, just kind of a layout like this, where it's like all of these images over here on the side, their colors kind of lined up with it, and then some information, which this looks a little crazy, but I just want to kind of give an overview of my plan. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to start arranging these, and what I may do is, because I have these cool pictures, like some natural wood, and some interior design here, some abstract painting, some gold texture and things like that, for this mood board. And I'm gonna kind of put in the shapes, and then we're going to start moving it all around and adding our colors or our images into these shapes. Let me bring this up here. Too relatable with the Steam thing. Yeah, big gamer here. That is actually, you know, a lot of my illustrations and paintings are very inspired by a lot of video games. I would love to know, while we're on the subject, if there's any gamers in the chat, and if so, what are some games that really inspire you? What are some things like that that really kind of make you want to create? And alternatively, aside from games, is there any like I wouldn't say, I don't think games are non-creative, but like non-specifically design-oriented things that really inspire you guys to work? I would love to know. Games are definitely a big one for me. I like to listen to audiobooks. I've said that many times. Audiobooks is a big one for me. I also really love just like reading physical books when I can. The audiobooks sort of come into play for me because if I don't have to hold a physical book, I get a lot more work done, if that makes sense. I'm a gamer, been playing too much League of Legends lately. I can't play League of Legends. I am a horrific League player. I'm terrible at League of Legends. I have been playing Torchlight 3, though. That's a big one for me. And the art, the paintings for the characters in Torchlight 3 are amazing. The splash screens are awesome. The loading screens are great. I think I'm gonna leave that right there. I don't know if I like that gap. But I'm gonna go with it for now, because we could put this there, which kind of brings that out. Maybe we'll put another ellipse here for this image. Will have its own little color, and these colors look a little, you know, a little crazy. But once we start dropping images in and stuff, I think it'll look really nice. Let's bring one down here. Let's put this kind of like not totally center. Let's break it up a little bit. Let's also add another rectangle. How many images do we have? We have an interior bedroom image. By the way, the Adobe stock image kind of comes up when I hover over this. So if you do, I guess you could type in interior, bedroom interior in Bohemian style, or you could type in the 257814899, which will give you the exact image, stuff like that. Also a great way if you need to find like the set or the creator of an Adobe stock image later. If you have it in your Adobe library, or CC library, you can always come back to that and check it out. But yeah, we have our interior decoration image. We've got, I think we have three natural wood images that I really liked. So that's 4. We've got 5 with our gold shiny leaf, and then 6 with our art, like paint splatter kind of image. So we are gonna need 3 more images. So let's go ahead and duplicate that. And I am going to make this one a little taller right here. We could do another overlap right here. We could do an overlap onto the little, you know, kind of informational side here, which could be interesting. I'm still not sure how I feel about like this orientation, but I think that's something that's really great to keep in mind when you are designing, is that, you know, I'm on stream, everybody's watching me do this, everybody has the opportunity to like judge how I'm coming up with certain designs and all that kind of stuff. And while that is different because I'm live streaming, sometimes, I don't know about you guys, but even when, you know, all eyes are not on me while I'm designing, it's still hard to shake the feeling, even when you're designing by yourself, that all eyes are on you. You know, you make something and it doesn't look quite right, or you think it could look better. And even if you're sitting in your room or your office, or, you know, wherever your workspace is all by yourself, if you make something and right off the bat it doesn't look great, it's kind of easy to get a little bit discouraged with what you're working on, right? Like it can start to, you can start to doubt yourself throughout your design process. And I hope that if you participate in these design episodes with me, that you can start to feel a little more comfortable with that portion of the process, like just throwing something down on the canvas, not worrying about like, is it good yet? Is it perfect yet? And just getting that idea down. I think one of the most valuable lessons I have learned kind of on this art journey is that when I do something, it does not have to look perfect the first time. If I don't just get comfortable with throwing something on the canvas, with just putting it down, and just getting an idea out, sometimes I never do. Sometimes I never come to a certain point in my project where I can really start to brainstorm and make something delightful because I let that first initial feeling of it not being good enough sort of take over. So you kind of have to do this. You kind of have to get into this mode where I'm like, okay, there's a bunch of rectangles all over the place. There's a bunch of circles all over the place. Not exactly sure what I'm seeing, but once you put it down, then you can start to clean it up and make it look good. You have to put something on your canvas, folks. These streams and you in particular have been super inspiring lately, so thank you. Jacob, thank you so much. I'm so happy to hear that you're enjoying the streams. I absolutely love streaming for you guys, so it's always a pleasure and a treat to be able to be here. I think usually intriguing open world fantasy games, you get a lot of creative ideas going. This from Sam Peterson in the chat. Things with a lot of exploration or cool creatures. Yes, 100% Sam. I also am a huge fan of like games where I can just take care of a farm. Like Animal Crossing and Stardew Valley. Those are so calming to me after like a day of rigorous design where I can just like, okay, I'm done with all my work. Maybe I'm not exactly where I need to be in my project, but I'm just gonna go like harvest my potatoes and visit somebody in town and give them a shiny rock I found. That's all I want to do. It calms me 100%. Okay, so we've got all of these here. I think what I want to do, I think the first thing that initially is bugging me about this is, number one, the colors I've chosen don't actually work together as well as I thought they would. However, that might change once I put the images in, so I'm gonna put that idea, that note on a back burner. I think I need to make the stroke a little bit thinner and maybe make the corners of my rectangles a little less round. So that's what I'm going to do first. I'm going to come over to all of my rectangles, and I am going to look at that. So pro tip, if you want to change the roundness of the corners of rectangles, and I have so many, and I'm not going to go in and do them individually. I don't want to try and make it perfect individually like this. I don't want to go in individually and type in the specifications. I've selected all of my rectangles at once, and look at your girl. Look, I am just resizing the roundness of these corners all at once, which is really, really convenient to be able to do this. I can also open my properties panel here, and I think I want to change this stroke to like a 10. And I made all of the strokes on all of my rectangles thinner all at once. So pro tip, if you are working with a lot of different elements like this, very, very easy to do. And I'm going to do the same thing with my ellipse, all of my ellipses, and I'm going to change the stroke to 10. Boom. I might also change the color to, I mean, we could just do, let's just do like a straight white. And that's not initially what I wanted to do, but it might be fine. So let's go ahead and do that to my rectangles as well. Let's just change this to white. Boom. Because it's kind of invisible. I don't know how I feel about it just yet, but we're gonna find out. I'm also going to change. I'm gonna add a stroke to this rectangle as well. We are going to make that 20, no, 10. And we are also, one of the things that bugs me about this is I've got this to the exact width and height, or the exact height of my artboard here. So you could see that stroke on the inside, which I don't want. So what I'm gonna do is with that rectangle selected, I am going to actually change my stroke to outside. So that will show my stroke on the outside here, but it won't show it on the interior there, which is nice. Been afraid to start those games because I will definitely get addicted to them. Same, very smart. Also Animal Crossing, Becca, awesome. Playing the Adobe live stream all day inspires me. It's what I've been doing as I create today. Awesome. And I've seen you in chat a lot, Kiss My Creative. Thank you for being here. Also, quick reminder, if you folks are over on YouTube, please come over to behance.net/live. That is where I am reading the chat. That is where I'm talking to all my awesome friends over here, and I'd love to answer any questions or see any comments that you folks leave me. Now, we're going to drop in our images. So let me go ahead and do this. I'm going to select these. I could drop them in one at a time, which I may do, just to keep things organized. So I drug this over the top of one of our pieces here, and I'm just going to right click this and hit create clipping mask. So it's in there. And honestly, I kind of just wanted a little piece of it. You see that? How it just like kind of gives me this nice little bit of that texture, and it kind of has, you know, it has this light green color in here, which is really nice. I can transform it and kind of get a little more. Maybe I can kind of bring this in and get even more of that really nice color. I feel like this is blocking it, so maybe I will flip it in reverse, horizontal, put it on the canvas, flip it and reverse it. That's a Missy Elliott song, right? Please no one unfollow me for that. I like this. I like it has like a little bit of texture. I think that is nice. Maybe I'll make it slightly larger. Booyah. Very nice, very nice, very nice. So we got our little image here. Let's grab some of our natural wood. I want our natural wood kind of coming in through the center here. I like that. So let's grab our images. I could have labeled these too. I could have like numbered these or labeled them in some way so I know which one's which, and I didn't. So tip for the future. Let's do this one here, and let's go ahead and right click that and create clipping mask and just throw that in the center there. I'm also going to hit F and bring myself into the second mode of Photoshop, and we are going to resize this. I want to get a bunch of this delicious texture right in here, a lot of this bright color, boom, right in there. Let's grab one for this one. I think we're gonna do the round texture. Yeah, the round one. I think will probably be good there. Let's rotate this way. Shrink that down. And let's put this on a clipping mask as well. I'm also going to peek at my timing here just to make sure my time is good. I think we have about 15 minutes left, so we're good. Put my thing down, flip it and reverse it. Yeah, see, I knew it was a Missy song. I knew. That whole song is just about Photoshop, obviously. Okay. It's not. Is it worth Is it worth it? Let me work it. Put your shape down, flip it and reverse it. Yes, it's all about Photoshop. It is, Sam Peterson. It is. I hope there's Missy fans in the chat so I don't sound like a crazy person right now. At least there's Kiss My Creative and Sam. Thank you. Okay, now I thought maybe the bedroom interior would be better over here. And the reason why I was thinking about that is because the bedroom interior has green. So we've got green like 3 times. And this is, honestly, this is kind of like a law of design and consistency and what's the word I'm looking for? Composition from illustrating and painting. But it can still work in like regular designs. So I'm gonna go ahead and put a clipping mask on that. So when you illustrate, when you're doing like a landscape painting or something, and Sam Peterson probably has heard this before, it's not something that is a must do every single time you design, but if you're doing like a landscape, you're trying to make something look dynamic, sometimes using like a 3-time duplicate shape or element really helps solidify the piece, especially if you're doing something in perspective. Having something, some kind of natural shape or something repeated in 3 different ways during, like in that painting, makes it look really cohesive. And I'm kind of trying a little bit of that here, where I have our green, and then some more green. So that is like pushed throughout the page here. And I think I may also, I'm gonna hit V on my keyboard to access my move tool, and I think I'm gonna move this to like right here. Why not have it just in the center right there to take up that empty space? And then I could bump this up like so. So it's not like right smack dab in the center there. Okay, so we've got wood, we've got that. I think we'll put another wood over here. I think that would be good. So let's go ahead and use we could also, another way, because I was worried about navigating all of these because I didn't name any of them. If you hit V on your keyboard to access your move tool, you can just click. And as you can see over in my layers panel over here, that it just selects all of my layers for me. So I'm just gonna click this one, and I know it's that right there. I will open my library, drag this. This is a really nice natural wood image. I love it. And I'm just gonna drag this right in here, up in here. Sorry. We are on a 90s hip hop kick in the stream today. So there's some more wood, and then I'm just gonna throw that gold texture. Now, these are just images that I found that I think look really nice together. You could use, if you're going to work along with me, you could use different images. You don't have to use exactly what I used, and maybe you're looking at what I'm doing and thinking, you know, Val, maybe I would have chosen different images, better images for the project. Go for it. Post it in the Photoshop Discord because I'd love to see it. I would love to see what you folks come up with if you were doing this project instead of me. Sam is on point over there. He is. He really is. Music video version of Graphic Glow Up today. It is. It is. All right, so we've got our images, we've got our little pinpoints of color, but now we actually have to change this to the points of color. So let's go ahead and click here, and let's change our colors. So I want to select this, let's see, like go ahead and come in here and just select a nice gold, maybe a bright, like a bright yellow or something. Boom, there we go. Go ahead and hit OK. So we've got that color spot there. Let's click here and let's grab like a dark color spot from here. Let's grab something in this realm, something warmer and darker. We will also click this color spot. I'm just selected on my move tool so I can click that ellipse, and let's grab something lighter and warmer from here. That's not too terribly similar. I think that one's pretty close. Maybe here is where we get like more of this bright. I don't know if that, yeah, honestly, it's very similar to that, which is like, you know, this color right here. So let's go with that. Let's get a dark color from this wood here. Let's go ahead and sample. Boom. Get like that dark color. Let's come over here and let's sample, we could sample this color, but I think that'd be a bit obvious since it's right here. So maybe we sample this right there. And you can make these decisions for your own project as you go through. Oops, I didn't select, we need to change that back. I did not select our new ellipse. Let's get ourselves this nice tan color. Boom. And then let's select this one and let's get our dark green that we love so much. Let's go ahead and select something a little bit saturated. Boom. Okay, so now we've got this nifty artboard, which maybe I would spend a little more time kind of organizing it and making it a little more interesting. Like maybe honestly I could grab these and maybe I will bring that down right there. And I think I need to make sure I have our image centered in there properly. Maybe I'll bring that down. Maybe I wouldn't make it overlap. You know, these are decisions that I can make later, but we need to add our text. We've got a short amount of time left, so we need to add our text to this, and then we have awards. So let's go ahead and think about what we are gonna do for text on this. I'm almost wondering if I should not, now that I'm thinking about it, the more I think about it, I'm gonna group these. The more I think about it, maybe I can group all of these with their respective shapes, the images with shapes. And if I had more time, I would also name these based on what's in the photo. But for this group 3, I'm just going to move that in and move this out. And I am going to click this and I'm gonna move this in and I'm gonna move this down there. Honestly, we could also move that over here. Maybe we'll do that. Yeah, do that. Okay, text. How are we gonna do this? So I would like to have like a body, okay? So body text, and I do kind of like it with this light green, but I think that we might be, I think that we might be better off using a tan color that kind of matches our background a little bit better. So we have like a body, we are gonna need a title, which I am going to put into like Montserrat extra bold and crank this up to like a 24. So we have like our title. I think it would be great if we had like a company logo, which we could just, for the purpose of this, I'm just gonna drag out a little ellipse and we'll make that our green color. Let's go ahead and bump this up. Align that. We'll grab our text. Put that right there so there's some information, and then maybe there's like an itty bitty tagline down here, something small. I'm gonna copy this lorem ipsum and duplicate it a few times, and I am going to change this to a very small, maybe a 10 point, just fine print. I don't know, maybe this is a copyright something here, I'm not sure. We don't know. There we go. And that could be fun. I mean, there's some empty space here, but I don't really see that as a huge problem if there's no information to go there. And I think that that's something that can really be said, you know, as an important thing, is like sometimes empty space is not so bad, and you don't want to fill this, like pack this full of information if it doesn't need any more. And I think that that would be, you know, like here's our logo, here's like, this says like, you know, color spot, mood board, some information on my thought process as the designer, and then, you know, like the fine print. Katarina, welcome in, it's good to see you. Let me check our time. We've got about 6 minutes here, which is about enough time to do our award ceremony. This works for me. However, as I said, I did want to change this text to like a tan. I'm gonna grab all of my text here, and I'm gonna change this to our light spot color. I kind of like that. Maybe it needs to be brighter though. Yeah. Let's do brighter. And let's also change our ellipse shape to our bright color, because I think that that looks better. Let me go ahead and group these and bring them outside of our ellipses here. I think that looks better with our background. So that is like kind of I think I've achieved all of my goals for today, honestly. I think the only thing that's bugging me here is let's see. I want this to be aligned with that one. Even though I didn't do a lot of aligning on things per se for this, I think I do want to have that kind of lined up there just a little bit. It's a little too close to that. Maybe it's not so bad if this is overlapping. I don't know. I'm not gonna worry about it. I can spend more time on it later. But there's a mood board with some interesting spot colors. I've got my information on there. It looks like something you could present to a client. It might need a little bit more work, but it's kind of a fun way to imagine, like kind of imagine what a mood board could be, how you could present something visually appealing that serves a purpose like this. So I hope that me walking through this has sort of helped you imagine something that maybe you could do, or if you'd like to create something exactly like I did, go for it. You can post it in the game show channel of the Photoshop Discord and I'll take a look if you like, but we have just a few minutes here and I would like to dive into awards and show you how I do that and why it is so important. So I'm gonna go ahead and save this so that I have it, and we are going to pop over to achievements and goals. So my goal was create a mood board that looks, oops, I missed an S in here, that looks like a finished product. I succeeded in doing that, definitely, I think. As I said, you know, we had an hour to work today, and maybe I would spend more time, but I think I've hit my mark there, and I definitely feel like I've become more comfortable with style guide type work. It's not something that I usually do. It's not something that I typically offer to any clients if I'm doing any kind of branding or something for them, because my work predominantly consists of like live streaming and painting. But I feel like I've hit both of those, so pat on the back for me. And then as far as awards go, let's check out our badges, folks. So again, let's review our tip. You deserve to earn points when you try things for the first time and or when you create something you are proud of, which I did today for sure. Get into the habit of appreciating the little things, moments in which you grow, not just complete. Now, I actually got through like completing, you know, mostly completing a project today. Sometimes for these episodes I don't, but I still award myself points because I still did work. I still got a great concept down. I still put effort into creating something, and that is very important. I am definitely going to award myself points for graphic design. I think that I'm going to give myself kudos for attempting the mood board design, because I've never done a mood board exactly like that. And I'm also going to give myself an award for presentation, because I feel like the entire goal of it was to make a mood board that looks like a finished graphic, something that's appealing to look at, something that looks like I made a piece of art, rather than here's some images, here's a list of color codes, there's your mood board. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn this 7 into an 8, and I am going to turn this 4 into a 5. Now, we didn't do any illustration or animation or video editing like we've done in past projects, although I might be kind to myself today and give myself a point for illustration, because we did talk about some illustration philosophy, I suppose, with the repeating like 3 natural shapes or 3 colors or things through the composition of a piece to make it look more cohesive. I think we could weasel out another point for that. And so what I do with this is every time I do this show, Graphic Glow Up, I come into this and I start adding points, and as we go along through this I can really start to show give myself a visual representation of the progress I'm making. Now, we have done a lot more graphic design episodes than anything else, and we've only done 1 animation video editing episode, which is why the points are so low there, but I did earn some on those days. And I would love to know how you folks kind of fared through this episode, if you folks did some work with me or any of that. And feel free, if you want to, you can share your achievements and your goals pages in the game show channel of the Discord, but it is not necessary. This is something that is for you first and foremost. It is not something that you have to share with anyone. It is not a competition. This is just positive reinforcement for yourself. So thank you all very much for joining me. This was an absolute pleasure and a blast. Keep designing, everyone, and I will see you another time. Adios, everybody.